We believe in handheld service. And the best example I can give you is there are certain chains of hotels that you walk into and you ask to use the restroom and they'll point you in the right direction. And some hotels will actually walk you over towards that restroom. Well, we believe that our people provide handheld service.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Mark Williams, President and CEO of Brokers International. Mark, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastically well. Thank you very much. And thanks, Andrew, for having me on the show.
My distinct pleasure. Appreciate you spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Brokers International.
So again, my name is Mark Williams. I am 32 years in the financial services business. I live with my wife and my son in Atlanta, Georgia, and run a business out of Des Moines, Iowa. And we are the distributors of financial services products, mainly life insurance and annuities. And we distribute those products through over 6,000 independent agents nationwide in every state. And they deliver those products to your home.
Excellent. And what's the origin story of Brokers International? How long they've been in business?
So we've been in business for about 40 years. We started in a very small town called Panora, Iowa, out of someone's house, actually. And over the last 40 years, we have been in the top 5 distributors of life insurance and annuities ever since then. Always in the independent marketplace and representing families. And we represent over 40 carriers or insurance companies that we distribute our products from.
Now, just so I understand correctly, you help set up agencies, is that correct? Or are you a direct-to-consumer sort of situation?
Yeah, great question. We are actually, we work through independent agents, so we don't own an agency, and actually we don't sell products. Our main number one mission is to help independent agents and agencies build their businesses through technology, back office support, a lot of marketing support, some compliance support. We help agents build a business, build a brand, create some consumer awareness about themselves, and then on the back end, help them process their business, issue products faster, get paid faster. So we're an independent agent's back office that the consumer never sees.
Gotcha. And do you function in 50 states?
We do. We function in every state. We also function in Puerto Rico. Yep, every state.
So obviously, the word compliance becomes a serious business because it's different from state to state to state.
Yeah, compliance is interesting in our world. So we have, there's an insurance commissioner in every state. So we have to abide by every law of every state. And then there are some federal mandates about the products in which we sell. So how we illustrate them, for example. The sales tools that we use or comparisons that we use in the public eye. So comparing our products to other products is very scrutinized. And just what an agent does and how he advertises himself is very scrutinized as well. So their websites, for example, or business cards or brochures, we're very careful about. So lots of compliance in lots of different states for sure.
Gotcha. And what are the most common problems you're solving for your clients? Great
question. So people fear 2 major things when it comes to money: dying too soon and living too long. Right. So obviously, if you have people that rely on your income, and God forbid you don't make it home tonight, how do you supply income to family members when you're no longer around? That's obviously a big fear for lots of people, especially as younger people get married and have kids, and they're in the midst of their life, and God forbid you don't make it home. We help supply some funds to keep a standard of living that people have grown accustomed to. But currently, we've got another problem, and that's an aging demographic. So we could say that's a positive and a negative. We're living longer and generally speaking, a little healthier, but that also requires us to generate income for much longer. And unfortunately, as we get older, things do get more expensive, like medicine, our healthcare gets more expensive, and the cost of goods and services go up. So we also help people plan for the future and plan for their retirement through many of the financial vehicles in which we offer.
Excellent, excellent. And what makes Brokers International stand out from its competition? What's the differentiator?
So I would hope that it's number one, our people. We believe in handheld service. And the best example I can give you is there are certain chains of hotels that you walk into and you ask to use the restroom and they'll point you in the right direction. And some hotels will actually walk you over towards that restroom. Well, we believe that our people provide handheld service. We don't manufacture anything and we don't sell anything. We're truly distributors. We're the middlemen. So what we have to offer and what differentiates us, first and foremost, is the service in which we provide to our agents. The second most distinguishing factor is we really help agencies build their agencies. So we do work with a lot of individual financial professionals, but more importantly, we have specialized in building agencies, people that want to recruit more agents underneath them. So our specialty, which we're only one of 4 or 5 in the industry, really do help people build downlines and build agencies as opposed to just working one-on-one with individual salespeople.
And by providing that back office experience, you're freeing people up to do the things that they're good at in the first place and not have to figure out how to run a business. In effect, you're kind of doing it for them. It's a turnkey solution.
Yeah, fantastic comment. Well, I have found that really great salespeople oftentimes are not great business people. They're salespeople. They're good at prospecting. They're good at meeting people. They're good at uncovering needs and supplying solutions. What they don't oftentimes like is the running of the day-to-day business, the management of people, worrying about the financial situation, marketing, branding, all of the things where there are some other specialties that we can help out, running the day-to-day business. And that's really where we shine. We can be an agent's or an agency's back office support and assist in those tasks that they might not be as good at. So it helps them work in their business and we work on their business. Yep, great point.
Excellent. Tell me about the last couple of years in COVID and the challenges and opportunities in terms of growing the business through this challenging time.
Yeah, COVID's an interesting time because generally speaking, financial services done face-to-face. You might meet with your accountant or you meet with your lawyer, but if you're going to meet with an insurance person, oftentimes it's face-to-face. And that put a wrinkle in a lot of people's businesses, COVID, when we're shut down. So interestingly enough, both from an industry perspective, most insurance companies did not allow an electronic signature on an insurance application prior to COVID. In fact, there were only about 5 or 6% of all the carriers that allowed a full electronic application not done face-to-face. COVID hit, and within 2, maybe 3 months, every single carrier that we do business with allowed an electronic app. And more interestingly, most agents shifted their business to being face-to-face to one of electronic communication, much like we're doing today, like a Zoom or a Teams meeting or something like that. In fact, we have many agents who even now, after the world has opened up after COVID, do still consider 75 to 80% of their sales are done in electronic manner like this, as opposed to back to face-to-face, because it is efficient. We don't have to set necessarily a time for getting to and from the office. And all of the tools now can be used electronically. So the business has shifted drastically in the last three or 4 years.
Well, hey, your industry is completely based on trust and relationships. So I understand why it was, 99% face-to-face back in the day, but we've all turned a corner in terms of accepting this as human contact, right? So I can understand the shift. All right, let's put on your marketing hat for a second. What role has content played in the growth of Brokers International?
Yeah, content is king. We've always been a content-based sales system because even at point of sale, right, people need to be things need to be explained in a very simple manner. Oftentimes insurance products are confusing. Even if you think about car insurance, for example, there's so many pieces and variables to car insurance, it can be confusing. Well, life insurance and retirement vehicles can be just as confusing. So oftentimes using pieces point of sale can really help tell a story. So that might be in print. Today we're using videos or we're using electronic calculators. If an agent wants to advertise today, you and I grew up with the white pages and the yellow pages. It was in print. The big book came twice a year. Today, all of that information is found online, but you need more than just your picture and your name and address on a website. You need content. So advertising what you do in a simple manner with lots of supporting material has become the way to do business, right? We all go to the web today to find all kinds of information. So the amount of content that an agent can provide oftentimes is difficult for them just to amass that amount of information, make sure that it's correct, put it in a way that's appealing to someone's eyes and or ears and or in order to comprehend. So creating content and having content, number one, you have to have a lot of content. You have to have content that attracts people, and you have content that explains your story. That's a lot of information, and most people aren't good marketers. So yes, content is king. I would argue that it's probably triple or quadrupled, and that's just my own stat. People need so much more content today than they did, even I would say 8 or 10 years ago, that it really has become any business has become a marketing business, a content, a brand building, explaining your story, and that's all done through content today.
Well, hey, you and I have talked about it. There is just a proliferation of options now. People do more research than ever to pull the trigger on any sort of relationship, let alone one as critical as insurance. So, and you live in a world where typically there's 2 or 3 pages of important information and then 10 pages of fine print that most people don't necessarily pore over. So you have an obligation to engage and educate people at a higher level than most industries. So I understand what you're saying.
You bet.
Let's look down the road a year. What are some things you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally?
Personally, so I turned 55 this year, which was kind of interestingly enough for me. I was never an age person. This one kind of hit me interesting, right? Double nickels when I was a kid, that was kind of, you're getting into your retirement years. So for me personally, it's developing a plan for the next 10, 15, 20 years of my life. I'm about to be an empty nester. My 18-year-old son graduated high school. So for me, if I'm kind of a planner, I like to have a roadmap, so to speak. So for me, over the next year, personally, I'd like to develop a roadmap of what my next 15 or 20 years would look like. So that's personally. Professionally, we have the business over the last 7 or 8 years has done extremely well. We've had double-digit growth every single year. I'd like to continue that, obviously. We've hit some wonderful benchmarks as a company. We hit our 40 years in business this year. And so we have some professional goals that we'd like to see within the business, and we're on track to hit those. So I've got some metrics that I keep for the business, but professionally, we'd like to continue adding value to our customers, right? As any business owner or someone that runs a business, I need to remain relevant with my customers. And so as long as we're continuing to recruit new customers and providing valuable service, that would be that'd be a wonderful notch in the belt, so to speak.
Please tell us, what's your URL? Where can people find Brokers International, and what social media outlets are you using these days as well?
Yeah, so BILTD, so Brokers International Limited TD, BILTD.com is where you can find Brokers International. We can also be found on Facebook. I can be found on LinkedIn, Instagram. I also have my own URL, markwilliams.com. So you can find myself and any information about Brokers International there as well. And you can reach out on, again, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
Excellent. Mark Williams of Brokers International, thank you for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. I wish you and yours all the best and continued success at Brokers International.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me.
My pleasure.